The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'll be talking to Scott Roberts of National Pool Rod Sales. We're going to go over the industry in 2024. Is the pool service industry a good industry to get into? We'll also touch on some of the aspects of buying a pool route, and we'll touch on some of the business aspects of having a pool service. So I think you're going to really enjoy today's podcast with Scott Roberts of National Pool Route Sales. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. So I'm joined today by Scott Roberts of National Pool Route Sales, who's the Florida Sales Executive. How are you doing today, Scott?
Hey, David. Doing well as always. Happy New Year to you and everyone listening.
Yes. I'll just jump right into the questions here. And the first one, I think, is something that people ask all the time. Every year you get this question, and it's no different this year. Is pool service a good business in 2024?
Yes. If it wasn't, I certainly wouldn't still be doing it. But I've been here, I'd say now for 8 years with National Pool Route Sales, handling all Florida, 100% of the Florida buyers coming into the industry through our company, whether they're in the industry already, which makes up about 5% of our buyers, or 95% of people really have never done a pool service route even one day in their life. So from start to finish, I deal with everybody from private equity companies calling to just a person who's just starting out, who's retired, who's looking to pick up just a couple of days a week because they're bored, and everything in between. Where it was about 8 years ago, and I was in it for 8 years prior to that. I started with a small company, very small, about 30 accounts, and I grew it to many accounts and over 1,000 over the years. I think what I've seen is from 16 years ago, I think when I started, yes, it was good back then. Even people I know that were in it back in 2008 during the recession in this country, it became known as a recession-proof business because people still, regardless of their financial situation, they didn't want to go out and do a few things, right? They don't want to cut their own lawn if they don't have to, right? They don't want to have to clean their own house. They don't want to do their own pest control, and they don't want to clean their own pool. In that order, or in a certain order, they would maybe do their own house cleaning. I think I found that people would tend to do their own house cleaning first. It's something that they could deal with. They know how to clean their own house. Everyone understands it. But when you get into pest control, which is not what we're talking about, but pool service, pest control type businesses, you're dealing with something that dealing with toxic chemicals that people don't like to be handling if they don't have to. Plus, having to go down and pick stuff up maybe at a local store, it's giving people a good opportunity to hire a company that can come in with their own products, and people don't have to have chlorine in their car or acid or things like that, or worry about what to do with them or the toxicity or maybe potential health hazards. So yes, there's always going to be a demand. There always has been, and there always will be. It continues to grow. I have no shortage ever of people trying to buy pool routes. Every week, there's new people that I speak to without fail for 8 straight years, and I don't see it slowing down. And COVID, as terrible as that was for so many people in this country, it didn't affect the pool service business. In fact, it boosted it because everybody was just bored. They were discovering what they can do for entertainment around their house. Video game sales, Netflix, that all went through the roof, but so did pools. Maybe it went from, I know in Florida, it went from about a 7% increase in new pool construction permits being pulled each year in the 67 counties in Florida to more of like a 22% increase there. So that's 3 times. So people were moving to the warmer weather states, really for many reasons, including some different political reasons also. But people were moving to some of the warm states, and people were building pools like crazy. Pool builders, as you know, David, it went from maybe, back in the day, I think you'd be able to break ground on a pool in 4 to 6 months. You couldn't even break ground for 2 years when COVID was happening with most good pool builders. Now it's between a year and 2 years. Even now, people still can't even keep up with the demand of new pools being built. So yes, it's a very good business to get into because it's not something, because it's recession proof. It's pandemic proof. It's riot proof. Even when riots were going on, there were people still making their way to the pools, getting through. It's funny. I had somebody actually who was driving through a riot to go clean their pool. So yeah, if that answers your question.
And I like to say that pool service is more of an insulated business. I don't really like to use the word recession proof, but it's insulated from a recession because I think our society has moved towards kind of like a service society. I don't know, and not like the Jetsons cartoon where everything is done by, for you, but it's similar to that now because I don't know anyone in my neighborhood that cuts their own grass. I know that in my actual street, there's like 3 or 4 house cleaners that come every week. And so I think the whole culture of our country has kind of moved to where if someone else can do it for you, I mean, I could do my own oil change. I haven't done my oil change in my truck in maybe 5 years. It's pretty simple, but why not just take it to the corner, Jiffy Lube in 30 minutes it's done. So I think in some respects, I don't know if you agree with that, but we're more of a service-oriented society.
Well, yeah, and just to add to that then, and I 100% agree with that. That's, in my opinion, that's 100% right. And I would say, to add to that, just looking in Florida, if you even go back, I mean, and this is the same for many states, obviously, but let's just look at Florida because it's where I live. I've been here for over 20 years. I would say when I first moved here back in 2002, 2003, you can get a house down here for, a fairly low amount of money, low purchase price. And things have changed so much now. It's so expensive to buy a house here now. I feel bad really for the young people out there. I'm 52, but I feel bad for the young people that are just starting out and things are so hard and interest rates are high. But I think the type of person buying a house in, let's say, Florida, it's a little different of a thinker, and I think their situation's different. They need to be working. They need to be making a lot of money, and it's people with money moving here now. It used to be you could just come to Florida and buy something inexpensively, and you could clean your own pool. It didn't matter because you didn't have to kill yourself and life. And now people are more focused on, they're coming here with the money. It's a different type of buyer now. So it's a different type of mindset. And like you said, that leads right into what you said. It's more of a service-oriented business. People just want to have everything done for them in life now here, so they could focus on making money and not doing all the things that used to be done. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I would say I'm waiting for the full service gas stations to come back into style. I really liked that when I was a kid. You probably remember that. You would pull into the gas station and someone would come out, fill the gas, clean your windows, check your oil.
David, I actually worked at one of them. Yeah. But I think we're around the same age or so. So yeah, that's funny. But I do remember that. That was, and then it was funny. I never wanted to use the service. Like when I got my first beater car, my first $2,000 car that I was so proud of that I saved up for. I remember I didn't want to spend the extra money on the full service.
That's funny. Now let's transition real quick. And obviously you sell pool routes, national pool route sales. This is something that I get asked a lot. I mean, if you're buying a fast food restaurant, people know that you're buying the location. Maybe you're buying the land. Maybe you're paying rent to the landlord. But there's a physical location to that. When you're buying a pool service route, what exactly is a pool service route purchase?
It's a few things. One, you don't really have to worry about, let's say it is Florida or some of the states that deal with weather conditions being really, really rough for owning a brick and mortar type of place. You're really let's just start with an owner operator, somebody that wants to buy a pool service route, service a full-time day, Monday to Friday. They can generally service in most areas about 16 to 18 pools per day. That's about 5 pools being cleaned with the drive time to the next pool, and counted in every 2 hours. So taking a couple of breaks for something to drink or something to eat, that's about, I'd say a full-time route. You could easily do 16 to 18 per day, which is 80 to 90 pools in a full-time route for an owner operator. So when you're looking at one of our routes, we have routes that are somewhere in that vicinity as far as the number of pools, but they range from smaller to larger. But a pool service route is nice because the overhead is really nothing as far as an office. You don't need an office. People can work from their home. I didn't get my first office until I had maybe, I think, 500 accounts, because the distributor, which is where you're buying all your wholesale chemicals, is where everybody buys them from. You're going to show up and buy your chlorine, your acid, all of your chemicals, your filters, the parts you need, everything. Let them be your warehouse. Let them, all the rent they're paying for that location, use that and just show up there when you need stuff, and you put it in your truck or your trailer and you go from there. So it's nice. The overhead's low.
The value, I mean, you have to pay money for these pools. So where is the actual value in the pool route? How do you get your head around that as someone coming into the industry wanting to buy a pool route? Talk about the value of that pool route itself.
Sure. It's like anything else. If you could buy something that gives you income from day one and has an infrastructure in place already and credibility, there's your value. If you start from nothing, just picture it. You're going to start with 0 accounts, or maybe you have a friend or two who, hey, come clean my pool. Okay, great. So I have a couple of accounts. How do you get your next accounts? Well, it's not free. You're going to have to, whether you're buying an account or whether you're marketing and then spending the time to go out there, the gas, the time, you got to face rejection. You don't get every account. Some people just want to use you maybe for a promotional rate, that you're starting out with. And then they want to cancel you, and that, you have those types of clients. You could be chasing money and growth around for 8, 9 months, maybe a year, just to even get even close to the point that you could have bought a route from day one if you have the money to do it. Okay. If you don't have the money to do it, then you have no choice. Then you have to start a route, right? But if you've done something in life that has given you money and you've saved money, that's what money's there for in life, right? It's there for security, but it's also there to make other money. You send the soldiers out and they make money and they come back to you with more soldiers or more money. So if you invest it, you can get your money back. And usually I'd say, as in an owner operator route, 8 to 14 months, you should be able to get your initial investment back. And then from there, you're going to be growing. And growth depends on, how fast you want to grow. When you work with our company, you'll be assigned a mentor, or depending on the state you're in, if it's Florida, it's me. Okay. And I'll go over all the ways of growth, and there's no fees for any of our services like that. Mentoring, our online course, our ongoing training. We actually really help out our buyers in that way to really grow a nice company.
And so that leads into the next question. Do I need to be in the pool business, or is this something that I can actually learn? And, we both learned this business when we were much younger, but someone coming into it, that's one of probably the main questions is how hard is it to do the pool service?
All right. So, pool service, if you ever noticed who's driving around some of the trucks out there, sometimes it's 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds running a full-time route in a pickup truck, and they have no problem and nobody knows the difference, and it's fine. People of all ages, all shapes and sizes really can run a pool route. It doesn't matter. Okay. Gender doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You could just run a pool route. You do not need to have even 1 day of experience. We've sold over 14,000 pool routes for 40 years now. And over 95%, like I mentioned when I first opened up here, of the people don't have 1 day of experience going out on a pool route. People, sometimes will call me, hey, Scott, I clean my own pool. Well, that's great. There's no difference. What you do at your own pool is what you're going to be doing at somebody else's pool. The difference is that the training that you get from our sellers out in the field teaching you how to actually do the pools is going to be essential. They're going to teach you, and we have a good program for it. They're going to teach you how to do all the chemistry. They're going to teach you what the chemistry means and exactly how to fix problems with chemistry in a pool. They'll teach you how to take the debris out of the pool. They'll teach you how to clean the filter. They'll teach you how to diagnose issues going on with the pool and how to instruct the homeowner if they come walking out. Okay, this is part of what we ask our sellers to actually do. We want them to actually take the buyers to pools that might have a heater or an automation system, salt system. These are things that you'll get into during training. Sounds complicated, but it's a lot easier than you think. And before you're done with the seller training out in the field, you'll be pretty well versed at how to deal with the customers and handle all this, so that when you are on your own, even though you have our continued ongoing support, okay, you will be able to feel comfortable. And that's why we haven't had bad reviews online all these years with people saying they've had bad experiences buying pool routes, because they haven't. It's pretty simple, David.
Yeah, and I guess I'll give myself a plug, but we work hand in hand where you can give the buyer of the pool route 6 months of my coaching program. I think I have close to 60 people that have bought routes through you over the years that have joined my program. Many are still in it, and so it's kind of like a little safety net. I'll just mention that. So the Pool Guy Coaching Program, poolguycoaching.com, we partner with National Pool Route Sales to help these new buyers after the training period of the seller is done. Sometimes they have questions that are pretty simple, like how do I move the on-off trippers on the timer, because maybe they never went over that with the seller during that period. I'm here to help also in that respect. So I thought that was a good placement for a plug.
Well, it is, and I'll just plug you too, because for me, I mention it to everybody. Not everybody even takes advantage of it, David, and I am shocked because you're like a pool technician coaching hotline for 6 months. Who would, after the seller training? I suggest it to everybody strongly. I'm glad a lot of people have taken advantage, but the people that have, I have been on conference calls with new buyers and with a seller maybe like a year or two later that's selling maybe 20, 30 accounts or 40 accounts because they're growing so quickly. And they will mention you. They'll say, man, this service is the best. Oh my God, this is the greatest. And you got to call them and you don't hesitate. So yeah, David, it's been nothing but 100% great reviews back.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Scott. Let me also ask you this question, because we talked about what a pool route purchase is. And you mentioned the return on investment, which is incredible for any business to get. If you buy like a grocery store or a market or even a fast food restaurant, your rate of return is years, maybe even sometimes 10 years, 8 years, something in that range to get the money you invested back out of that brick and mortar business. So if, besides the rate of return that you mentioned, 8 to 14 months, something like that you mentioned, what am I looking for when I'm investing in a pool route? How do I've never done this before. I've never bought one. And so what kind of characteristics am I looking for when I invest my money in a pool route?
Sure. So most of the owner operator routes we have, but let's say 90 accounts or less, right? That you see listed or that somebody might see listed at poolroutesales.com. I would say that you're going to most likely not have an employee in place coming along with it. It's probably an owner operator situation. Occasionally, we'll have an employee in place. If you're investing, I just need to know what that means. I need to know what each buyer is looking to do, like what their role is going to be. Are they going to be cleaning pools themselves, or are they looking to just sit back and put something in their portfolio that's a turnkey situation? We have all of that. But those are going to be larger purchases, larger companies. And sometimes, even the much larger ones will get involved with the Small Business Administration. Everyone's heard of SBA loans. They're not super easily available for pool routes, but larger companies that have great track record and great tax returns to show for that will qualify for those. But in general, as far as an investment goes, it's not a difficult thing to resell a year or 2 or 3 later if you just change your mind. If you grow a little bit, and you change your mind and, you say, hey, you know what, I want to get into something else. We've had some people do that. It's not often, but we've had some people do that. They've had very little problem, selling the route to somebody else. It's always going to be a great opportunity for someone. So your investment's not really very much at risk, in my opinion. All the years I've sold over 2,000 pool routes now here. That's a lot. And I've never had a single person ever call me up, not once, and say, I failed. Oh my God, I lost my money. I've never had it happen, not once. Once again, you would see terrible reviews online, right? And you really don't, because they'd be dishonest. It doesn't happen. It's very difficult because think of it this way, David. If you have, let's say you have 140 clients, right? You buy, or somebody buys something with 140 customers. These are 140 independent decision makers, right? This isn't like 2 property management companies that each gave you 70 accounts, and if you lose one of them, you lose half your business. Now, we don't really sell routes like that. It's 140 generally independent decision makers. How bad do you have to be in life as a person who just bought a business to just screw up with 140 different people? I mean, come on. Think about how many enemies that you have in life. David, I mean, you might have a couple more enemies than me because, you're a little better looking than me, but besides that, how many people would you consider to be an enemy in life? I mean, very few, right? That you've really annoyed the heck out of. how many customers, you're treating your customers well. So customers are not going to be really super upset with you. It's really difficult if you have good communication with the customers. Just always let them know they can reach you, okay? If there's a problem, don't get mad at me. Just give me a call. I'll work it out. Whatever it is, there's nothing I can't work out. If you give people that assurance, people will generally try you on it, from time to time. They'll say, hey, listen, I have a problem. Just treat them like family. If you treat them like family, of course, family that you like, right? But, family, if you treat them like family, people are going to give you a chance. People are always rooting for the small independent owner of a business. They like that. It's a little bit, it's a way to feel that, maybe it brings it back to a different era in this country where things were done with handshakes, So anyway, that's my feeling on that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I find that people have a extremely high tolerance for bad service. I mean, I've gone in the backyards where the pool's pretty much, yellow algae everywhere, or it just looks terrible. And I'm like, oh, so how long has the guy been doing your pool? Oh, 3 years. And it looks like this in the summer usually, and we finally got tired of it, so we called you. I get this a lot, and I'm thinking the tolerance for bad service is pretty high.
Extremely. I mean, that was the reason why I got into the pool business. When I saw how bad my own pool guy was, and I was the first to run out there once a month to hand him a check. I'd be excited when he would come to the pool and spend 5 minutes and he's smoking a cigarette, flicking his ashes in the pool while he's on the cell phone and talking to me and in and out. And I would get in the pool, it'd be itchy. And I just thought I would never think it was bad pool service, but it was bad pool service. It was, when I found out how much money he was actually making, and I said, if this knucklehead's making this much money, what the heck can I do? Cause I'm going to treat people right. I don't avoid people. If someone has an issue, I'll deal with it. If you just treat people like that, I think you'll be fine. But yes, there's a very, very, I think your competition is not great out there if you're getting into the pool business, meaning that there's enough people doing a terrible job for you to always have a surplus of accounts ready to pick up. You never have to worry.
Yeah, and I think the last question for this segment is, I get this off. You could probably get this often too when people are calling and inquire, can I just build this business from the ground up? I mean, why do I have to buy this route off of National Pool Route Sales? And why can't I just organically grow it? You mentioned a little bit of it earlier, but maybe spend a minute or two talking about the organically growing a business versus just buying the pool route. And this is, if you have the money, I think is the key factor here.
Well, look, I'll talk about the industry first, and then I'll jump into that. I did a little research, and there are 10.7 million swimming pools as of today, minimum in America. That's a lot. 1.6 of those, 1.6 million are in Florida, and Florida's number one now, has overtaken California, which has 1.3 million pools. So that's a big number. The amount of business out there is just tremendous. And also then just something interesting, 36% of children and 15% of adults swim in a pool at least 6 times per year. What I like about that is, that's so few times really, so they're not even using their pool all that much. If you think about it, it's pretty much such an easy business to just go out there and do. Every time you're there aren't people in the pool. They're not calling you every day because there's a problem. It's a really simple type of business. You could build it from the ground up, but then you're going to run into the same, situation again, where starting from zero is difficult and it gets a little bit demoralizing, honestly. If you start even with 30 accounts, 50 accounts, it's a great place to start. And then you have some credibility behind you and you can grow it. So yes, you can build it from the ground up, but you can grow this thing anywhere from 10 to 60 accounts monthly, depending on the type of plan for marketing that you have. And you don't have to spend really a ton of money in marketing.
If you had the money to invest in a pool route, wouldn't that be more logical than to spend, $5,000 on marketing every 3 or 4 months? If you just bought the route, you can kind of use that as a launching pad, like you mentioned, to grow your business. Does that sound logical?
It does. So many buyers will say to me, hey, listen, I just want to get into the business. I just want to buy 20 accounts, 30 accounts. And I think sometimes they feel this obligation to say, oh, and don't worry, I'm going to buy more. I don't need you to buy more. If we do, our company is great and we do fine. And I'm in a position in my life, I'm just here to help people to do well, sleep at night, feel great about what I do, feel like I'm helping people as well. So for me, I'm just always going to make sure that, and in our company, people are going to make sure that you get what you need, not what we need you to do. So if buying 20 or 30 accounts makes more sense because you're willing to do a good marketing program, then you'll never need to buy another route again. And that's great. Then let me and our company help you. It's no charge for that. We're going to mentor you for free and teach you how to grow it. And then what some people do, they might do some type of mixture. They might do the organic growth. And then if something really good in the area pops up, they'll say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pick up those 30 accounts over there because I have an employee that I want to hire. And that makes sense for me. Right, David? We will come across that. There's different scenarios that are going to come up, but you'll always have us to talk to about it and to us to spitball their ideas off of, and we'll always give you our honest opinion from our experience. We're all very experienced in doing this.
Yeah. So why don't you give a plug for how can they reach you, Scott, if someone was interested in buying a pool route?
Okay. So our phone number is 877. Remember when we used to say toll free, right? 877-766-5757. That's National Pool Route Sales. Please don't get us confused. We are not at all associated with the other company that sounds like us, okay? We are National Pool Route Sales. We're doing this for 40 years. They are not. And it's poolroutesales.com. So poolroutesales.com. And you can reach me at scott@poolroutesales.com. That's an easy way to get me as well. And then we'll chat about anything that somebody needs, whether they're buying or selling a route.
Great. And then you're going to stick around and we're going to talk a little bit more about buying a pool route in another segment here. So thanks for your time on this, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thanks to all your viewers.
I've done several podcasts with Scott Roberts. You can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. On the banner, click on the podcast icon. When you get to the podcast site, just type in the word Scott Roberts in the search box, and then the other podcast recordings that I previously have done with Scott will appear there. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Real quick, if you're not using pool service software, try Skimmer free for 30 days at getskimmer.com/poolguy. Again, that's getskimmer.com/poolguy. Skimmer, everything you need to run your pool service business all in one app. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.